This is absolutely disgusting. We're watching the wrestling industry implode in real time, and nobody seems to care about the truth anymore. Anonymous accounts on social media are throwing around career-destroying accusations against Triple H and Io Sky with zero evidence, zero accountability, and zero consequences. Meanwhile, the real criminals in this business are plotting their comebacks like nothing ever happened. Vince McMahon, the man who's facing federal investigations and lawsuits that would put normal people behind bars for life, is reportedly maneuvering his way back into WWE power. Batista just received health news that's going to break your heart, and a former WWE champion has announced they are walking away from wrestling entirely, and the reason why is going to shock you. What I'm about to expose in this video is going to make you question everything you think you know about the wrestling business, and I guarantee by the end of this, you're going to be just as furious as I am right now. Let's address the elephant in the room first because this situation makes my blood boil. Over the past 72 hours, social media has been flooded with completely baseless, unsubstantiated allegations involving Triple H and Io Sky. These accusations, which I'm not even going to dignify by repeating the specific claims, originated from anonymous Twitter accounts with no credibility, no sources, and no evidence whatsoever. And yet, within hours, these rumors spread like wildfire across the internet. Wrestling news sites picked them up. YouTubers made videos about them. Fans started treating these allegations as confirmed facts, all without a single shred of proof. Here's what infuriates me about this situation. We live in an era where anyone can destroy someone's reputation with a few keystrokes and zero accountability. Triple H has been running WWE Creative for over 2 years now, and by all accounts, he's been doing an incredible job. The product is better, the storylines make sense, wrestlers are being used properly, the locker room morale is the highest it's been in decades. But one anonymous account makes a wild accusation, and suddenly all of that is overshadowed by speculation and gossip. Io Sky is one of the most talented performers in the women's division, someone who's worked her entire life to get to WWE, and now her name is being dragged through the mud by people hiding behind fake profiles. Let me ask you something, do you think social media platforms should be held accountable for allowing anonymous accounts to spread potentially career-destroying accusations without any verification? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this issue goes way beyond wrestling. What makes this even more frustrating is the timing. These accusations conveniently surfaced right as WWE is in the middle of crucial television negotiations and sponsorship deals, right as the company is trying to maintain its reputation as a publicly traded entity, right as they are working to distance themselves from the scandals of the Vince McMahon era. Coincidence? I don't think so. This reeks of a coordinated smear campaign designed to damage WWE's credibility at the worst possible moment, and the wrestling media fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Both Triple H and representatives for Io Sky have categorically denied these allegations. WWE's legal team has issued statements calling them completely false and defamatory. But here's the problem with the internet age, the accusation gets 1 million impressions, but the denial gets 1,000. The damage is already done. People who saw the initial tweets will never see the denials. They'll just remember that they heard something negative about Triple H and Io Sky, even if they can't remember the specifics. That's how reputations get destroyed in the modern era. Now, while we're dealing with false accusations against people who've done nothing wrong, let's talk about someone who actually has been accused of legitimate wrongdoing and is somehow plotting his return to power. Vince McMahon. According to multiple reports from sources close to TKO Group Holdings, Vince has been making phone calls, attending meetings, and positioning himself for some kind of role in WWE's future. Let that sink in for a moment. The man who was forced to resign in disgrace. The man who's currently facing federal investigations. The man who's named in multiple lawsuits alleging misconduct that I can't even detail on this platform. That man thinks he deserves to come back. The audacity is staggering. Vince McMahon spent decades building WWE into a global empire, and nobody can take that away from him. His contributions to the wrestling business are undeniable, but his time is over. The allegations against him are serious, credible, and well documented. This isn't anonymous Twitter gossip like the Triple H situation. These are legal filings. These are federal investigations. These are real victims coming forward with real stories. And yet, Vince apparently believes he's above consequences. Here's what's even more concerning. There are reportedly people within TKO and WWE who are actually entertaining the idea of bringing Vince back in some capacity. Not as CEO, obviously. Not in a public-facing role. but as some kind of behind-the-scenes consultant or advisor. The justification being thrown around is that Vince has institutional knowledge and relationships that could be valuable to the company, which is absolutely insane. You know what's more valuable than Vince McMahon's institutional knowledge? Not being associated with someone who's facing the kind of legal troubles he's dealing with. You know what's more important than his industry relationships? Protecting your brand reputation and not alienating sponsors, partners, and fans who are rightfully disgusted by the allegations against him. Quick question for you: if Vince McMahon somehow returns to WWE in any capacity, would you stop watching WWE programming? Be honest in the comments because I want to know where the fanbase actually stands on this. The contrast between how Triple H is being treated versus how Vince is being treated is absolutely mind-blowing. Triple H, who has done nothing wrong and has all the receipts to prove it, is getting his reputation attacked by anonymous trolls. Meanwhile, Vince McMahon, who has actual legal problems and actual allegations from actual people, is being welcomed back with open arms by certain individuals within the company he destroyed on his way out. Make that make sense. But let's shift gears to something that's genuinely heartbreaking. Batista. Dave Bautista, one of the most beloved wrestlers of his generation, a guy who successfully transitioned from wrestling to Hollywood and became a legitimate movie star, a guy who's always been open, honest, and real with his fans. Well, Batista recently opened up about some health issues he's been dealing with, and the update is not good. According to a recent interview, Batista revealed that years of wrestling have taken a severe toll on his body. We're talking about chronic pain, mobility issues, and injuries that will never fully heal. He's dealing with the long-term consequences of giving everything he had to entertain us for all those years. The part that really got me was when Batista talked about how he can barely train anymore. This is a guy who was known for his incredible physique, who took pride in his physical conditioning, who worked harder in the gym than almost anyone in the business. And now he's at a point where basic workouts cause him significant pain. He's had multiple surgeries. He's on pain management protocols. He's dealing with the reality that his body is breaking down, and there's no fixing it. This is the price that professional wrestlers pay for our entertainment, and it's a price that fans don't think about often enough. Batista also mentioned that he's essentially done with any possibility of returning to wrestling. Not because he doesn't want to, not because he doesn't love the business, but because his body literally cannot handle it anymore. We're never going to see Batista have one more match. We're never going to see him return for a Royal Rumble surprise. We're never going to get that dream match with someone from the current generation. It's over, and it's over because wrestling destroyed his body to the point where he physically cannot do it anymore. Here's a question for the comments: what dream match with Batista are you most sad that we'll never get to see? Who from the current roster would you have loved to see him face? This brings us to our final story, and it's a big one. A former WWE champion has announced that they are done with wrestling. Completely done. Not taking a break. Not going to another company. Done. Now, I'm being deliberately vague here because the official announcement hasn't been made public yet, and I don't want to scoop their personal statement. But I can tell you that this is someone you know, someone you've cheered for, someone who held the WWE Championship within the past 5 years, and their reason for walking away is going to surprise a lot of people. It's not about money, they've made plenty of money. It's not about creative frustration, although that's definitely been a factor over the years. It's not about wanting to pursue other opportunities like acting or business ventures. The reason this former champion is walking away from wrestling is because they've lost their passion for it. They are burned out. They are emotionally exhausted. They've given everything they have to this business for over a decade, and there's nothing left in the tank. In their own words, which will be released in the coming days, this wrestler talked about how wrestling stopped being fun years ago. How it became a job that they dreaded rather than a passion they loved. How the constant travel, the physical pain, the pressure to perform, the politics, the gossip, the social media scrutiny, all of it combined to drain every ounce of joy from something they used to love more than anything in the world. And when you reach that point, when you wake up every morning dreading the thing you once lived for, the only healthy choice is to walk away. What makes this retirement particularly significant is that this person is still relatively young. They could have another 5 or 10 years in the ring if they wanted to. They could make millions more dollars. They could have legendary matches and feuds, but they are choosing their mental health and personal happiness over money and fame, and honestly, I respect that more than I can express. We put so much pressure on wrestlers to sacrifice everything for our entertainment. We criticize them when they take time off. We question their commitment when they don't work through injuries. We act like they owe us their health, their happiness, and their entire lives. And it's not fair. This announcement is going to send shockwaves through the industry because it's going to force other wrestlers to ask themselves the same questions. Are you happy? Is this still your passion? Or are you just going through the motions because it's what you've always done? How many other wrestlers are one bad injury or one bad creative decision away from having the same realization? The wrestling business has a toxic relationship with retirement. We celebrate the wrestlers who never quit, who keep coming back for one more match until they can barely walk. We act like loyalty means destroying your body and sacrificing your mental health for our entertainment. But maybe we need to start celebrating the wrestlers who are smart enough to walk away while they still can. Maybe we need to respect the ones who choose happiness over legacy. So here we are. False accusations against innocent people like Triple H and Io Sky spreading like wildfire while actually problematic individuals like Vince McMahon plot their returns. Batista's body is breaking down from years of giving us incredible matches. A former WWE champion is walking away because the business broke their spirit. This is the state of wrestling in 2026, and we need to talk about it. Final question: which of these 4 stories concerns you the most? The false accusations, Vince's potential return, Batista's health, or this champion retiring? Let me know in the comments. And if this video opened your eyes to what's really happening in wrestling right now, share it everywhere. The wrestling community needs to have these conversations, even when they are uncomfortable.